Guess who's back after their hiatus? Hey y'all, welcome back or welcome to the Pickle Jar. This is What's the Deal? I'm your host, Mackenzie Pickle. I want to start today's episode off by saying I'm sorry. I've been gone for quite a while. I've been super busy and I kind of just left y'all hanging high and dry back in season 3 with only 3 episodes, and I'm really sorry about that. But I am back and better than ever, and I'm here to announce the start of season 4. Quick life update. Last time we spoke, I talked about being cast as Ariel in my community theater's production of The Little Mermaid musical. And now the show has come and gone, and it was incredible. I had such a wonderful time. I got to make so many friends, and we had such a good cast and crew and a good audience, and it was just the time of my life, and I am forever grateful for that opportunity. Also, I've been planning something kind of big for the podcast. I'm going to make a video solely dedicated to that announcement, so stay tuned, more details to come. But make sure that you're subscribed to the YouTube so that you can see this video whenever it comes out. I'm super excited for it. Another thing, I made a website. I was tired of having to change out all these links on my social media, so I thought, why not make a website and have all of it in one spot? It's really cool. I'm super proud of it. It's got all my social media pages linked. It's got all the podcast episodes on there, and there's even a blog, so hopefully I'll get to start posting on that soon. I'm really excited about it. Go check it out. It is www.mackenziepickle.com. Thanks so much for your support. Oh, and last thing, I got a dog. I adopted her from my local animal shelter, and I named her Hazel. We think she's roughly about 6 months old, and she looks like she's an Australian Shepherd and Border Collie mix, but since she's a stray, we don't know for sure. But she's super sweet, super energetic, and she's actually running around here right now. So if you hear something, that's probably Hazel, but she's just the best, and I am so happy that she's a part of my life now. Now, let's dive into the review. Today, we're going to be talking about the Fantastic Four First Steps. Buckle up because there's spoilers ahead. So I got to watch this movie over the weekend, and let me tell y'all, I was so excited for it. I was just a tiny bit hesitant because I do like the 2000s Fantastic Four movies, you know, with Buzzcut Chris Evans playing my man Johnny Storm. Don't play with me about him, okay? I love him. We all know about the Fantastic Four movies being redone, and I don't know, I was just nervous, you know? I know the actors cast in this movie are incredible actors, but sometimes being a good actor still doesn't mean that you fit a role well. That was my fear going into the movie. But praise the Lord, because within the first 5 minutes of watching this movie, that fear vanished, and I was all for this casting choice. The casting was so incredible, y'all. Each of these actors really captured the personalities of each Fantastic Four member so well, in my opinion. And also their performance was so well done and fit the tone of the movie really well. And it just all blended seamlessly, like the aesthetics, everything like that. I loved getting to see each character have their own little like personality moment. I also loved seeing them like seamlessly blend together as a family. Like they truly made it believable. And the chemistry between all of them, phenomenal. I loved the sibling energy between Sue and Johnny, especially when the whole team is like making fun of Johnny for making up a moment with the Silver Surfer, you know, and they're saying that he's making it a bigger deal than it was. But then later Sue goes to his room and asks about it and is like supporting him and showing that she believes him. Stop. So precious. And also the back and forth between Ben and Johnny, iconic. They are so hilarious. I love them so much. They act like brothers. I know they're not, but like it's just that family kind of bond. It is just so good and so fun to watch. Reed and Sue, I loved their chemistry, and I really love that we got to see them argue and bicker a little bit, but also be like each other's support and everything, and seeing them get to be parents. Stop. The baby proofing montage, so cute, precious, adorable. Just have to throw this in there. The end scene with the 3 guys all trying to get the car seat in the car and like arguing about it and all that. That is so real, and it's so funny. I'm so glad they included that. Speaking of the characters, we gotta talk about their powers. And the CGI, unreal, y'all. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. Reed stretching, Sue's invisibility, which, by the way, I thought it was so cool when they showed like how she could just turn just her stomach invisible and showed Reed their baby while she was pregnant. Crazy. And her making the ship invisible while actively in labor. Homegirl is powerful, okay? Supermom strength defeating Galactus was so incredible. She is that girl. Also, The Thing, the rocks looked so good. Very accurate, and he didn't stick out from the rest of the characters. You know what I mean? Like, it didn't look like he was like a green screen or a man in a dotted suit with like 3 other people. He looked like he was with them the whole time. Does that make sense? You know what I'm saying? Like, he didn't stick out as he was added later or something like that, you know? The CGI just flowed so well, in my opinion. Johnny's flames, don't even play with me. The flames are so good. And the Silver Surfer, she looked so incredible. Absolutely stunning. And when you could see Johnny's reflection off of her in space, beautiful shot, beautiful attention to detail. And the back and forth between Johnny and Shalabal, love. Him figuring out her language, iconic. And it helped us get some more lore from her as well. And then that also made her sacrifice at the end of the movie 10 times better. Also, I loved that scene of the Silver Surfer surfing Johnny's flames. So good. A few details that I wrote down while watching the movie that I wanted to discuss. 1, the pregnancy test at the very beginning. I could have sworn it said Stark, where like the business name is. And anytime I see Stark, I just, R.I.P. my homie. I miss you so much, Tony Stark. I understand that this is not Tony Stark technology, but it's most likely Howard Stark technology. Hello? I just had to throw that out there. Shout out Starks. 2, Galactus, so ominous. Also, when his eyes glowed, he kind of reminded me of the What If guy. You know, the guy that's in space, the Watcher. The Watcher is his name. I don't know. Is it just me? Or is it a coincidence? Or are they linked? I don't know, but they looked pretty similar in my opinion. The 3rd thing I have is the flashback video montage of them going into space while the voiceover is discussing the cosmic incident that happened while they were up there that made them have powers. So incredibly done. In my opinion, I think that is one of the greatest ways to introduce an origin. They didn't drag it out. They didn't make it some boring scene or whatever. It kept you in the world of the movie as well, because they did it in a way of like TV host was bringing them out to talk about them because they had spent 4 years as the Fantastic Four. You know what I'm saying? And TV shows do those sort of montage moment things all the time. So it felt very accurate to the time. It kept me in the world. And I think they did a good job of telling the origin without being like, this is what this person can do. This is what this, you know, because we do kind of all know the story. The Fantastic Four has been around for a long time in comics and movies and stuff. I just think it was the perfect way to explain how they got to where they are, and they didn't take up too much time either, which was phenomenal. The 4th thing is the villains they faced before. All of those mentions, I loved it. It's shown and mentioned that the Fantastic Four already defeated Giganto, Mad Thinker, Red Ghost, and his Super Apes. And then they also mentioned defeating Mole Man, but they kind of give Mole Man a little bit more of a character arc because he's the ruler of Subterranea, and he does bicker with the Fantastic Four, but he's actually friends with Sue, which is iconic. I loved seeing that side of her, being able to negotiate with him and becoming kind of friends. That was really cool. Reed also mentions that he's been keeping tabs on a bunch of people, and he names Diablo, the Wizard, and Puppet Master, but they end up just letting law enforcement take care of them. Okay, next thing, Pedro's acting when Sue is dying, king. What? I was crying in the theater. Thank the Lord that baby saved his mama, because I was losing it. Super baby to the rescue. Then the last little thing that I wanted to talk about was when Sue's leading the Future Foundation meeting, you know, and they're discussing how everyone that's present represents, you know, the countries that agree with the Global Peace Pact or whatever that they're doing. But there's an empty seat that the camera pans over. It's not like spoken about, but it is shown deliberately. And it's a spot for Latveria. I think that's how you pronounce it. And guess who the ruler for that country is? Dr. Doom. I love this little detail. It's like a little introduction into what's to come. It is so, you know, they don't say his name. They don't even say the name of the country, really. Like, they just pan over that empty spot. And to me, that says more than anything. Like, it's just a little teaser for us to see what's about to happen. It was really subtle, but oh, it was so powerful. Now we gotta talk post-credit scenes. The last one, it was cute. It just showed the cartoon theme song. It was, you know, whatever. But the big deal was the mid-credit scene. Holy cow. It was so simple, but it was so awesome, y'all. I got literal chills in the theater. Seeing Dr. Doom's hood and the glove holding baby Franklin, you know, he didn't speak. There was not really any explanation at all. I think it was perfect. Incredible teaser for what's to come. And speaking for what's to come, let's talk theories. Now, Fantastic Four is set in Earth 828, and the regular MCU timeline, as we've been told, is set in Earth 616. Now, I think Doom is going to be first appearing in 828, and then he'll make his way to 616, just based on the fact that he's in the post-credit scene, and Latveria was in the main part of the movie. And in the Earth 616 MCU timeline, we have never really had any mention of Doom. There's not ever been made known to be a country named Latveria. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't have anything about that. So I think he's going to come from 828. He's not already in 616. Or if he is, he came there from 828. Does that make sense? Also, Reed comes up with that whole multiversal, like, moving the planet to a different solar system thing. That has to come into play. Right? Like, that has to be what gets Doom from 828 to 616. And then also that post-credit scene back in Thunderbolts when the rocket, like, enters and the Thunderbolts see it on their radar of, like, you know, it's entered the... I don't know. I feel like it all connects that way, but whatever. It's fine. I have been reading, spent a lot of time on Reddit, and I've seen a couple theories linking Tony Stark and Doctor Doom and He Who Remains, which back when the Loki series first came out, you know, people were linking Kang to Tony Stark and saying that they were variants and stuff, which I'll get to that in a second. And those of you that don't recall the Loki series, you know, the big villain is Kang. Kang's also the villain in Quantumanium. I'm pretty sure he was supposed to be the villain of the Multiverse Saga, like the big and bad, but then Jonathan Majors went and ruined it. So now we've shifted gears to Doctor Doom. In some comics, Tony is presumed to be a precursor to Iron Lad, which is a young Kang variant. Also in the comics, Doctor Doom is kind of like a variant of Tony Stark, or vice versa in some realities. So I'm sitting here like, what's the MCU going to do? How are they going to connect all of this? Are they going to go the comic route? I don't know. Well, Robert Downey Jr. has apparently said that his Doctor Doom is not a variant of Tony Stark. But that also doesn't mean that the Tony Stark we knew wasn't a Doom variant himself. Stay with me. Downey has said, which also Marvel actors lie all the time because, like, they have Kevin Feige watching their every move, you know? So take it with a grain of salt. But if he's saying Doctor Doom is not a variant of Tony Stark, okay, that means that Tony Stark could be a variant of Doctor Doom. There's a theory that Tony is actually Doom, but in the 616 timeline, he was raised by adopted parents, the Starks, so his actual parents are Werner and Cynthia Von Doom. Honestly, though, I think that's a little bit of a stretch. But there is another theory. And look, every theory is a stretch, okay? It's a theory. It's creative. It's using your imagination to piece together what you think is happening. So these could all be wrong, but it's fun, right? The other theory is that Tony Stark, using the Infinity Gauntlet in Endgame, actually created an incursion which would lead to a multiversal disruption that leads Doom to the 616 timeline. This theory suggests that this action, while killing Tony in the 616 timeline to save his world, actually led him to becoming Doom in other timelines. This kind of makes sense to me because if you think back to Endgame, you know, you have Doctor Strange looking at Tony and he holds up the one, you know, and that's to indicate to Tony that this is the one in millions of possibilities that they will defeat Thanos. Right? Woo, yay, we win, whatever. So then Tony sacrifices himself because of that. But what if that one could also signify that that was the one universe that Tony Stark sacrificed himself and died instead of becoming Doctor Doom? I know that there's a lot of moving pieces and there's probably a lot of plot holes into that theory, but it kind of makes sense, right? At least to me. I think it'd be cool. Also, there's another theory that suggests that Tony using the Infinity Gauntlet was orchestrated by He Who Remains to ensure the safety and integrity of the sacred timeline. And another theory regarding the same thing mentions that He Who Remains would need time travel. Hence, he could use Tony Stark to be able to have it made and then use it to defeat the different versions of himself in the multiversal war that He Who Remains talks about in the Loki series. So Tony Stark essentially could have been this key player in Kang's plans, creating the time travel, the Infinity Gauntlet, all that stuff. And Kang knew about it and sort of orchestrated it to happen and made Tony his catalyst. Like, come on. Come on! Regardless of what theories are correct, or if we're all just incredibly wrong and the MCU decides to go an entirely different direction, I'm excited to see what comes next. This is what I love about Marvel. Going to the movies and then talking with people and coming up with, what do we think is going to happen? Did you see this detail? You know, making up all these things of what might happen or how things connect. It's so much fun and I love this community. This movie just got me so excited and it's such a good superhero movie. It was a great adaptation in my opinion. I'm going to give this movie a 4.5 out of 5. My only critique is that I wish there was a little more action with the Fantastic Four fighting Galactus. Although I do realize that that's a big ask considering the fact that Galactus literally devours planets, so like how would they show that, you know? But that's neither here nor there. Nonetheless, I thought this movie was fantastic. See what I did there? Yep. Anyways, old joke. Definitely go watch it. Well, that is all that I have for you today. Thank you so much for tuning in, however you decided to do so. Pickle's pick for this week is Artists vs. Turtles by Epic Rap Battles of History, featuring Rhett and Link and Smosh. I love the Epic Rap Battles, and the Epic Rap Battle Artists vs. Turtles is one of my favorites. It is so good. Y'all already know. I know it's a nerd out moment, but y'all know don't play. Make sure that y'all go check out the website, www.mckenziepickle.com, and follow all the socials. It's whatsthedeal.macpickle on Instagram and TikTok. Also, please share this podcast with everyone that you know. I thank you so much for your support. Leave a comment letting me know what you thought about today's episode, and let me know what I should review next. I'll see you next time. I love you so much. It's time to close the jar. Bye!